Welcome to Film Study, an all-American podcast with Lexi. I'm Lexi. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, rate the podcast 5 stars. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Hopefully they're like respectful and stuff. A new little disclaimer I got for you there. But yeah, me and Kai are gonna review Can't Nobody Hold Me Down, episode 506 of All American. Let's get into it. So Kaya.
That was very smooth.
Oh, thank you. What you gonna give Micah for a rating for this? Micah and Carissa who directed the episode. What you gonna give them?
I'm giving them a 20 out of 10. Especially considering what I got last week. 20 out of 10.
You said this is I'm adding on the score that was supposed to be last week's episode.
They have earned it this week here.
They've earned it. Now now my rating sucks. I was gonna be like, it's a solid 9 out of 10. No, it was a really, really good episode. But why do you rate it that? Why do you rate it a 20?
19 of those points is just for the simple fact that Coop was nowhere in sight.
No, legitimately, can we all cheer?
When I tell you, every minute that passed by, I was expecting this girl to come up on screen.
Literally.
So by the end, I didn't see
Micah came through.
Yes, he definitely did. Thank you very much for that. He said she got all her talking out last week.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. No, and for that reason I'm gonna bump it up to a 10. I'm sorry.
See? Right there. There you go.
To a 10 for no Coop. No, but the other reason I rate it so highly is that like I feel like a lot of necessary conversations happened in this episode. I feel like the article storyline, which we'll get into it in depth, but the article storyline, we got more in like the first 9 minutes of that episode than we have in quite a few.
That's a fact.
Quite a few. Let me just leave that there. We saw different pairings, right? Like JJ and Jordan. We finally have Spencer and Liv having like they've had a real conversation, so I don't want to say a real conversation, but I don't think that they've really gotten to the heart of their issues, and I think that we saw them get to the heart of their issues in this one. I think it also like addressed some like concerns that fans have had over the last few seasons about like just fun and like different things and seeing characters in different environments and doing things. So I really dug that from them. And I think on the acting side of things, I think the director got really good performances out of people too, especially for the first half of the show.
Yeah.
I feel like it just like went by so smoothly. I think this was an episode where Sam shined. Like,
no, seriously.
Sam ate down, bro.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just like it like this script, I feel like just gave, and the script and the director just gave the actors room to breathe, and it just felt like, and I think we'll see if this is actually true or not, but it seemed like Monet was shadowing the director for this episode, like all during this episode. And I'm like, is it because like Monet was also along with this director that like people were just like, oh, I gotta be on my A game because it's like somebody in the cast? I don't know, because it was just like, again, I think that a lot of people did really, really well with the material. I think, it just seemed very, very smooth, and it's in a way that like hadn't jumped out at me since, and I mean hadn't jumped out at me for everybody really since Daniel directed. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know, it just I got that vibe again, and I almost forgot this took place in one day. It was very much.
Oh, it definitely did.
It was very much giving, it was, in terms of like the pacing of it was very much giving like 420, when it was just like, oh my gosh, like what? They packed a lot into this episode, and a lot into this, and 420 took place over I think 2 days, but they packed a lot into this day. So yeah, that was my mini rant on like all of the great things about this episode. I knew Michael was gonna come through. I knew
Yeah,
Michael was gonna
I've
come
had a little
through.
bit more time to sit with it too as we're talking, so I'm gonna have to knock it down to a 15 just because of the way they had Page Girl looking um
Oh yeah,
at her
that was.
video
But I feel
shooting.
like that was.
So
I
before
was that
Micah,
supposed to be
I'm gonna
comedic.
give him. I don't think so. I do not. I think
Okay,
that
we
was
go.
legit supposed to be a look for her. Gia set her
You said
up.
the stylist. You said the style.
Gia set her
You
up.
said
I
the
said,
style.
Gia, girl, I was rooting for
You said the
you.
stylist did her wrong. The
They
stylist did her
played all up
wrong.
in that girl's face from the
No, they
headpiece
did.
down
They
to the base of
did.
her feet.
What? Can we talk? Okay, can we talk about that first? Then can we talk about that first? Because when I tell you, I was gonna start off with Coastal, but we'll hold off on Coastal. We'll talk about Patience real quick. When I tell you that I was had my wine. I don't think I had popcorn that day, but I had my wine and my little snacks ready,
Okay, Olivia Pope.
and I took. And when I tell you I took a sip of my wine right before, I'm like, oh,
No.
this is going so smooth. Like I was just like, I'm not recording the podcast tonight. Like this is like a really smooth, just fun episode for me to actually sit and watch and enjoy without like me having to prep and blah 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 blah. And literally, as soon as they showed Patience in that outfit, I kid you not, I spit taked. I was like,
Boy.
what in the hell is she wearing?
They be tested me. They definitely tested me. I saw that girl come up on screen. I said, no. I wanted to cut the TV off.
Literally. And it was so annoying too because like when they first and I feel like this has been sort of a running joke about Patience's song, especially from last season, right? The yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
I do
Like
not like
but
that.
this but okay, well, here you always come for my taste. But like, here's the other thing. I thought the song was bumping, so I'm
Okay,
like, we getting a new
no,
song.
that's the other thing. The clip that they played when they were in the studio, I said, "Oh, this is a nice song." The clip that they were playing
Literally, and then
on
it
set, I
like
said, "Is this a different
changed.
song?"
It like literally, I was just like, they need to run that bridge back or whatever they were
Oh
playing at the
my
studio because that was the
gosh,
one. That was the one.
I don't know what that
But I was
was.
just like, the song at when they were at the studio, the song was bumping. When she was just like, "This is for the ladies, the gays, the aunties." I was like, "Yes, girl!" And she was twerking again. No, see, again, it's still at a 10 for me. It's still at a 10 for me because we finally they let Chelsea twerk. They let Chelsea twerk. I was here for it.
All right, so I'll move for the 16. 16.
16.
They still over 10, so
They still over 10. But so anyway, so to go from that fun scene, and the what was the line about the was the twerking blah blah blah, what was it?
the
Oh my
Gia.
goodness, I don't remember what the line was. Yeah, what was you doing, the twerking something?
No clue.
The treadmill and twerk, I don't know, whatever the line was, but it was funny. And just very laughing very hard at that. As we know, Gia took quite a creative risk, uh, a big creative swing. They called it.
Hmm.
We know that Layla was late, and we will get to why she was late in a second. But she was late, and when she arrived and saw the what is this, the how did we go from a Normani con to Vikings in bikinis?
I approve of
I
none
was
of
like,
this.
you better go. Literally,
Let them know, girl. You
you
had
better
no
start
parts.
talking. You better start talking.
I said, okay, boss.
Literally,
Oh my
literally, I was just like,
gosh.
oh, you better go. You better go. But yeah, so she was like, oh, you told me to take big creative swings, and she was just like, yeah, I meant creating a social media account
Settle
with you,
down, girl. Not like that.
legitimately. And
Gia tried
so
it.
she did. And so that happened, and she explained to Patience, and Patience seemed to dig it. And so eventually Patience came around and was just like, oh, I actually will try this, because she was supposed to be like playing a character rather than like playing a character rather than what do you call it, like playing herself. And so, but I do want to get your thoughts on this. What do you think about Gia's big creative swing?
I can see her thought process. She was trying to get patients out of her comfort zone. But girl, like you need to do baby steps. You see how this girl, how patience has been too, even how she was acting when she had to do the red carpet thing. I'm like, she's not very good with change that much, just because she's taking her little breakup with Coop Girl. So for her to, I feel, go as far as she did with this Viking thing, no, she overstepped, I feel like. But I also like that Paige took it the way she did because I'm confident that her and Gia about to have a little thing going,
Oh my god.
which is why she was open to like putting on the fit. She could have took one look at that
Yeah,
fit
that's a
and be like, I'm
fair.
not putting that on. Like,
That's fair. That's fair. I'm still just like, but Gia's such. I mean, before this episode, I was like, Gia's such a good worker and a hard worker. But
she
she
still
came
is.
back around, so I'm gonna. Yeah, she still is. She came back around, so I'm gonna give her that. And I'm just like, so I see it. I see the vision, but also I'm just like,
I want it, but I don't want it.
I don't want them. I just need Gia to be a part of Formonica Records for the foreseeable future. Is what I'm
I
saying.
could be
I
okay
don't
with
know.
that.
Uh, So I think I'm with you. I think that she took a step too far because that was really wild. Like and it seemed like they like actually had approved, like Layla had approved a concept. So I don't understand why she was playing around with the concept like that if it was already proved and sent. Like the hoops that she would have had to jump through to organize that whole set to change their whole entire concept would have been a lot, and that would have been a lot to hide from Layla. So I'm like, someone said they have a theory that Gia is like two timing, and I don't want that to be the
See,
case,
when
but
she first was brought up, the thought crossed my mind for a brief second until it got to the end of that episode, and I was like, she don't seem like the type. Not to say that she's ditzy, but something about her just seems very innocent and like just go with the flow type. Um,
right.
and like whatever her job is, she just wants to be good at that as long as it's what she's into. So I don't think so. She's not giving me that
Yeah, I
vibe
was just like, I
now.
feel like the apology and the explanation of the concept, it really seemed like she's just into patience as an artist and not
Yeah,
as a person. And yeah, so I'm interested to see again sort of where this goes from here. One of the things that I wanted to call out, what I mentioned earlier, why I rated it so high, is that it's addressing some concerns that fans have had sort of over the last season. You get Layla saying things like after Gio has apologized, even after Patience has agreed, she was just like, okay, but I'm checking in again, right? As a friend
yes,
first, right,
girl.
and then as a producer. And I think that like they took a lot of steps to like outline the growth in characters and the growth in people, and I really appreciated that from obviously they when she was dealing with the stuff with Carrie, like that wasn't sort of a conversation, and people were just like, how is she treating them that way? And you know we see the growth, we see the development, we see that she has healed from that very traumatic thing that she went through, right? So that was really cool.
Yeah, I agree with that.
On to signing day, the signing day scramble, which I'm sorry, this is also I was living for this. I think this is the most sort of interested in a uh like a slower paced even though it was a very fast paced episode, but like slower, like the wedding is a huge episode, it's a huge event that everybody is together, but I think this episode had a really good balance of everybody's storylines individually, which I feel like sometimes we only get when they put the group together. So like whenever the group is apart and they have their separated storylines, sometimes it seems disjointed a lot of times, but I felt like this one flowed really, really well. And I think it was really smart to put the article release or almost release right on the backdrop of signing day and the signing day scramble, and them trying to get Marco Galvin or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, Even though people were just like, how realistic is it for them to be freshmen? And I understand those concerns, the realism of the show, but I mean
It's TV.
It's TV. It's TV, and I'm like, there's things about this show that I have. There's other ways I have suspended my belief for things that were much. I feel like much more sort of questionable. So I was just like, this. I'm fine with this. Like I'm fine suspending my belief for this one. But anyway, so they're scrambling to sign people. Um, Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Coach Montez assigns Asher with flipping some recruits. They have 3 more spots that they can sign. So he actually wants to get Spencer and Jordan, but Asher is just like, no, that's a hard no. If they come to me, then that's a different thing. But I can't have them. I can't like try to take them away when they're going through all of this craziness. So we also get Asher and Jaymee, girl, your girl.
I love her. They let my girl outside.
They let your girl outside. They let your girl outside of the beach house. And she and Asher had this cute little moment, right, where they were talking about potentially going to see these things called ghost kitchens, which I was so happy that I got that reference now because I work in the franchise industry and I literally just learned about that 2 months ago at my new job. But yeah, she was talking about a ghost kitchen where there's like the famous chef or whatever, but Asher was just like, oh, I gotta do this thing, my Montez told me to go talk to these recruits. So he brings Jaymee along with him, and they spend the whole sort of episode trying to flip recruits. He actually ends up flipping 3 recruits. He almost flips Marco Galvin, to be honest, too. And then sort of Montez asks them at the end of the day, how it went. He specifically calls out Jaymee, and she vouches for him, and he gets a pat on the back from Montez. A job well done. So what did you think about Asher and Jaymee in that whole storyline?
She is being supportive wifey. Like, and also it's because I stated this what like 2 days ago. I think I was talking about it. The fact that we don't know anything else that's going on with this girl. Like, is she even still working at the restaurant? What's going on with her family life? Her medical issues. Come on, I know she's still sick. Like, we don't hear nothing about
Yeah,
friends or nothing from her. I would
yeah,
like it more so if she hung around like the girls more, or just even the guys a little bit more. And not just with Astra, but I do like that she was able to get out. And that she's also just showing the interest in what he does, like his career and everything,
yeah.
and that she's being that supportive girlfriend, supportive wifey, and helping him along the way to do that. I also feel like she's still, because I don't think, what is she, waitressing? I don't think that's like her dream job. So I think her
Yeah.
still like figuring out what it
And
is
doesn't
she
she
wants
go to
to do.
school? She had tickets to a
Yeah.
game. Did she go to
So
GAU? It seemed like she
wait,
went to GAU.
you think she goes to GAU?
She had a
But
GAU
wouldn't they
jersey on.
show us around campus with her? She did, but I figured
No, girl.
he
This is
probably.
all American. We don't even know where Patience is going to school or
Yo,
if she's
I
still
said
going to
this. Like,
school.
come on, we have yet to see this girl anywhere near school talk about school. Jaymee, I don't
Literally, we
know.
saw that one. She was just like, "I'm late for class," and that was it.
Maybe I should just like stole
Is
that
that is
jersey
that where we
though.
dock a point where we're like, it's back to 15?
You're right. That no, make it 14 for that because come on, make it believable. Like,
He said back to 9, back to 9,
back to not.
back to 14 and 9. They addressed a lot. Look, Micah addressed a lot. He couldn't address everything. He couldn't address all the holes.
Oh my gosh, y'all are really trying me out here. I'm gonna put them at like an 11 for that. They're at like 11 for that now.
It dropped so much.
He tried his best this episode, so I'm gonna give him an 11 out of 10.
He did. He did. He really did. And he
Oh
again,
my
he
god.
addressed a lot of things and a lot of things that people had been wanting to see. So it was really good. Yeah, there's definitely more for us to learn about some of these characters. And I feel like less time we could spend on other characters, namely Coop, namely
Yes.
Coop, namely Coop.
How well this week went. We don't need her.
And now JJ. Goodbye, JJ. We gonna get to you in a
Bye,
second.
sir.
Gonna get to you in a second.
For now.
Um, exactly. So I feel like Spencer sort of had 2 storylines, so I'll get to his part with Olivia at the end. But on his end of the signing day scramble, Kenny, the wide receivers coach. Okay, I was. I'll be being like, okay, now here are the holes. Here are the holes. Kenny is not the assistant coach. At least that's what I remember. He was always the wide receivers coach. So I was just like, why are Jordan and Spencer going to Kenny and not the assistant coach, who would presumably be next in line, in the absence of Garrett, who had resigned. But they go to Kenny and they're just like, yeah, you're the players coach, and we're gonna help you get the signings. So that was one thing where I was just like, question mark. Like, Kenny the assistant coach? But I feel like this was the most on the same end of that, and at the same token, this is the most we've heard from Kenny since like he was first introduced,
Seriously,
and
they
I feel
threw
like
man
this
to the
was almost
curb.
like they did, and so it was actually good to see him getting centered because when he was first introduced, he was introduced as such an important part and connection for Spencer and connection to Corey, and it's XYZ, and it's such a big reason why Spencer signed on. So
As my man mentioned,
it was good to yeah, so it was good to see him take some spotlight here. But anyway, they're scrambling to sign recruits. There's he ends up letting Spencer and Jordan help him sign recruits. Jordan got all his recruits to sign in like an hour maybe or so, but Spencer was
girl,
struggling a little bit to get them signed.
wait.
What did you think about that? Yeah, what did you think about that?
So when he comes downstairs, right, to Spence, I could have
When
sworn.
he was
Okay,
jumping
yes, when he was jumping. So you see how it
jumping down the
led
stairs?
from Asher and Jaymee. I was like, do not tell me they both got their girl sleeping over. I could have sworn they were gonna cut to like Layla girl up in his room or something, which is why he was coming down like that in such a hurry and fixing his clothes. I don't, and then it just stumped me because they didn't cut to her, and my man just went straight to talking to Spence. I was like, why was he rushing down them steps that quick? If my girl was not up there waiting for her boo.
Huh. Yeah, she was. I don't think she had spent the night, right? Because
In the night, she
then
wasn't
they had to
there. She was
text
nowhere in
later, and
sight.
yeah, yeah. She wasn't there,
They
but I was just like,
played
wait,
me.
you made me think for a second. I was like,
I
wait,
was,
hold
I
on.
was, I was so hyped. I saw him rush down them stairs. I said the camera's going to cut right on up there to her.
Oh, I know. I legitimately just thought that was him being funny. I did not have the same thought,
Yeah,
but
see,
that is
it's
hilarious.
Jordela.
That's a really funny theory. I would, yeah, it's your Jordala brain rot for sure. Did not think
I
about
had
that.
high hopes.
Um, I can see that. But yeah, Spencer is struggling to sign them a little bit. But can we talk about this? He ends up like making some headway, and actually he ends up signing all of his recruits, I think. But not them having Spencer speaking Spanish to Marco
I
Gaba
said,
when he
wait,
gets to
what?
jail.
I said, okay,
And then
papi.
it was just like, exactly. And then what was the funny? There was like some funny line with it. He was just like, well, hell, yeah, well, hell, let's go ahead and make this official. Then when the guy was
Oh
just like, oh, y'all
no.
party in the background. I was
Oh,
like,
they did on his little
what?
Zoom call.
Yes. So I don't know. It's like these again. At least for me, these are things I've been wanting to see, like lighter Spencer moments, and
Yeah.
him just getting to we've been wanting like for all of the talk that we've had over the past several seasons about Spencer needing to just you know have fun and not be a hero, not be a savior the whole time. I
And
don't
backpack
think this
off.
was him being a hero or savior. Yeah,
No.
he took the backpack off. He's over here speaking Spanish. Like, I don't know. He over here just chilling, not necessarily being in the party, but just chilling outside the party.
Yes.
Like, he's just living his life. So I
Looking good doing it
appreciated it. I
too.
appreciated it. Yeah, and that's the thing is that like maybe in the past they wouldn't have he wouldn't have gotten like all of the wins that he did, but he ended up signing all of the recruits, and I think that's a major win for him. They let the protagonist have wins. So which is not look again. Look, as a writer, you always are putting your protagonist through the ringer. So it was good to see him get all of his recruits signed. Um, on that again, we'll get to his part with Olivia and the article and that whole drama that people have very strong opinions on. Um, JJ, JJ and Jordan. So Jordan is cleaning up after JJ, and he's just like, oh, he and Asher have a conversation, and he's just like, oh, it's fine, like I'll clean up after him. He's just living his best life, blah 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 blah. And somehow the conversation shifts to Asher saying like, there's nothing better than having a supportive woman by your side. And here goes
Jaymee girl came right on down. He said, "Oh yeah, this my boo right here."
Here goes this my boo, this my boo. But listen, here goes your cut too. Here goes your cut too, because who did it cut to after Jordan was doing that lip bite? Doing that lip bite and smiling.
I most definitely knew. I said, "Y'all didn't give it to me early, but I'm about to get it right now." Yeah, I saw my girl sitting up in there with the curls, looking full. Oh my
With Gia
god!
and patience, like we said, bump into the song, and she like, oh. Can we talk about the message for a second? Jordan is so unserious for texting. Need you, period. Please? Question mark.
Look, he said, "Please." My man said, "Please."
Trained him
He's
up
so
well.
polite.
He trained him up well. I have never seen Layla get up so quick in my entire life.
It was never for Jor. No.
She hopped up with a quickness. She hopped up so fast that Gia stood up with her because she was just like, oh, are we leaving now?
Yo, homegirl was out. And she said, "Yeah, we are, but we are not going to the same place. I will meet y'all there."
She said, don't forget to lock
Up,
up.
lock
Y'all know
up.
where the keys are?
Cut the lights. Gotta pay that bill. Cut the lights. Yo, that girl was gone.
We're having too much fun. We
didn't even get to them. We're still in the studio. Yo, hold up.
Oh, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun on the next Jordana podcast.
She was like, earlier, she was like, "Oh yeah, let's play that verse back again." No, she forgot all about that verse. She was like,
Literally.
"We're gonna play it back with Gia twerking." What? No.
Please. Oh my gosh, twerk and sprint. That's what it was. Not me
Oh
remembering that
my
all late, but
gosh.
oh my goodness, she forgot about the twerk and sprint. She was just like, I
All
gotta
thoughts
sprint.
except Jor left her mind.
I gotta sprint so I could go twerk.
Oh my god.
Honestly, we
No.
need to be stopped. Like, we need to
The
be
curls were flying out that door. Like, I saw my girl here blowing in the wind.
I love how we're just on the studio on the
Yeah.
text message.
She wasn't even outside yet, and her curls were blowing in the wind in the studio because she was going out that door that fast. Like, for my man,
So she...
he said he needs me.
man,
I
my
said he
man, my
needs
man.
you, my man.
Yes. She was just like, oh, my man needs me. My man needs
Oh
me.
my gosh.
And so they got to a little post afternoon delight, and they're getting they're putting their clothes back on, right? And Jordan's talking about I didn't like I didn't mean like that when I said I needed you, and she was just like, right, okay.
Who you lying to, boy?
Who you lying? She was just like, I can tell you, I can tell when you're telling the truth. Let's not pretend. But it was so cute that he was just like, you came in looking all you, which was so
That
so
took me
cute.
out.
It took me out, and so then they start, which I was just like, I missed these conversations from them. It felt very like
Yeah, like little casual combos.
4B. Yeah, like
Or B,
4B
that's our
romantic, because
place.
they've been, yeah. Because they've been in such a flirty place. It was so good to see them have flirty place that's trying to figure out what they are, but it was so good to have them sort of like established. And so back to their back to their default, which is like having these good conversations. And so she's just like, oh, are you sure? Which she checked in on her man before. She was just like, wait, are you sure? So
Bruh.
that she was asking again, are you sure you're okay?
One look at her man face. She said, "What's wrong, boo?" I said, "Girl, you good?"
Literally. Look, I need to save some for the Jordala podcast. But one look, and she was just like, I gotta double check on my man. And so then he starts talking about the recruits, and saying that like they've signed half of them, and she's just like, oh well, good vibes for the rest. Um, and then he talks about like wanting to come to the the video shoot.
She said, "Nope, negative." Not my man.
She was like, we won't be having a rehash of speed dating,
Oh
so
my
no.
god. She said, "I will give you your own personal shoot as soon as I get back. But this one, no. You will not be present."
You will not be present for that. You will not be present for that. And then she says, but like maybe you should hang out with JJ, which again, right? But we have been like the audience as a whole, I think on average, has been sort of begging for people to sort of notice these signs with JJ,
Yes.
and someone does, right? And
And
someone
it's
does, and it made sense.
Layla.
And it's Layla, and I was just like, I just need my Liv on the other hand of this, right? Because I did predict this. I was wrong in the episode, but it did end up happening. Is I was just like, Liv and Layla having gone through sort of very similar circumstances to what JJ. It's almost like a mix of both of what they went through or whatever. So it was really cool to see Layla be like, well, it sounds like a cry for help, and how would she know?
You
Well,
know what that
because
looked like?
season two.
She said, "Story of my life."
Story of my life. When my house was broken into. So yeah, so it was really good to see her sort of notice those signs in him. And we'll get to what the effect of that was later on. But so they talk about JJ maybe feeling left out, and that maybe Jordan should hang out with him to help him feel a little bit more included and not have as much FOMO. So shout out to her for that. And then Jordan again is so unserious, and this man was just like, okay, cool.
Before I do.
That's cool.
Before I do, boo.
That's cool. Before I do, go ahead, take it away. What do you do?
Mom, first he went in for the lips. I said, "Those are your lips."
He did.
Yeah.
Jordan.
Homeboy said she was not putting up no sort of resistance whatsoever. Homeboy grabbed the
Not
jacket.
at all. This girl handed him.
She handed him that arm.
Literally, she was just like, "Okay, take my purse."
He's like, "Come on, come on." I said, "Go."
Also, can we talk about this? They are very unserious, or specifically again, Jordan was very unserious because he was like buttoning up his cuffs, and I'm like, now why is Jordan getting more together? Like, I know them cuffs were not buttoned before all of this happened anyway, but he's just like, oh, I gotta get like more together, like only. What is he doing? He's like fixing his the cuffs of his jeans, dude. Like, no,
Look,
come on.
He's taking all the time he can to be with his woman. He's gonna take as long as she takes to get ready.
Need you, please.
Need you.
And so yeah, he's just like, oh, you trying to go off to that shoot? I really gotta go, girl.
Let her know she don't even want to be there.
Literally puts her arms around him and then says no afterwards. Girl, be serious. She's so unserious. The lift up. Can we talk about the shot?
The shot that they gave us from the mirror view too. Come on.
People, it's okay. There was some controversy on the side. Some people hated the shot. I personally loved it because I was just like, come through, creative director.
I loved it. It was so cute.
I loved it. It was so cute. We were like, we just rarely get fun shots like that.
Not saying that because of Jordala.
No, I'm being so serious. No, I feel like some of the Jordala fans were upset because they were just like, we want to just see the pickup, and I'm like, no,
No, I love
I just
that.
like bold choices from the director like that and having it shown in the mirror, half on, half off. But yeah, she put up no resistance, and they went for round two, maybe round three,
Man, none whatsoever. I ain't expecting nothing else.
literally, and we
You
know.
said round two, maybe. Round two, absolutely.
No. I
Absolutely.
said maybe round three. I said round two, maybe round three.
That's why Homegirl was so late. She got to that freaking shoot right when it was about to
Which
end.
LA traffic, can we talk, like, if you are 15 minutes behind, you are an hour behind. So I know that girl was like
She was so late. That girl, she was over there living her best life while
very
Patience
late.
over there struggling.
Again, never seen this girl before. She's not being late for anybody else. This is like Layla is early is on time for her. Like
Her
early is
bed
on
all
time,
messy.
and
I
she was
said,
just like, um, uh, okay, please. And we skipped over the please.
okay.
Okay. They're so down bad for each other. I
Oh
love it.
my gosh.
I love it. I love it. So with that being said, Jordan, after that, Jordan does hang out with JJ, takes Layla's advice,
Because his woman told him to.
and and throws he thought it was gonna be a chill hangout, but the chill hangout ended up being like a rager with a keg and lots of shots, and you know the infamous fight. So here's the thing: I anticipated this happening, and I thought it made a lot of storyline sense. Because number one, we have to see as the audience that this is like a major problem for JJ. He has to do something super just like that would be sort of shocking for him to do. We also had to get something that could, I think, sort of like add credence and give credence to the reason why Layla sort of wants to be protective of things with her and Jordan. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they also needed to give a reason a big enough reason for Jordan to punch JJ. And I can say, the punch was deserved.
Definitely was.
The punch was deserved because
He basically
JJ
asked
saying
for it.
number one, he did ask for it, and Jordan tried to give him an out too, which I think that shows growth in Jordan, because
Yes.
usually Jordan will just like go for it. But JJ starts, and he starts with the whole Simone thing, and he's just like, "Oh, Simone had you on a leash," and then he said, and then he was like, "Layla has you on an invisible leash," and Jordan said,
He said, huh?
"What?"
Them ears went up. He
I'm gonna
said,
give you a
come
chance.
again?
The his face was so plain and nonchalant with Simone.
Okay.
And the second Layla's name was mentioned, this man said, "Excuse me?"
Yo.
His face completely changed, like, after all of that. And just his face completely changed at the mention of Layla. And again, he gave him a chance to walk it back. And
It just kept going.
JJ just sort of, kept going, and was just like, yeah, blah, 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 essentially mentioning the vortex and essentially calling Layla a pass around. And he was just like, yep, it's been with Asher, been with Spencer, now with you, and maybe I'll have my chance with her next.
That took me out.
Uh,
I said, oh.
and the little gyration that he did. Excuse me,
Yes.
sir.
Have to chop all his hair off.
Um, no.
So annoying. I'm gonna cut all them Goldilocks off.
And here's the thing. I actually think that the writers also brought this up. Why I think this comment was necessary from a storyline perspective is that the writers are intentionally addressing a ton of comments that people within the audience have had this sort of misogynistic idea that Layla is a pass around, and it's like they're giving it its just due and saying like this is like a stupid thing to say, like this is a really ridiculous thing to
This is gonna be
say,
the last time I hear
and
it.
it's not true. I I
When
I
she
pray.
said it the
I pray.
first time when her and Joy were talking in the studio, And she's like, I've been with Spencer, I've been with Asher. I'm like, all right, you know what? Cool. That's the fact you have been with them. But now for JJ to say it, this better be the last time. Nobody else better let that come out their
And
mouth.
the way in which he said it, and here's the thing, I will give the writers their props if they like dismantle this like ridiculousness at its head, and like you said, it's the last time they said it. But at the same time, we gotta acknowledge that like they treat, because their main women leads are black women, right? We've now had this situation where we have Liv being called a side chick in the last episode,
Mm-hmm.
Layla essentially being called a slut in this episode, and everything that's been said about Simone in the past, and so it's just like, okay, now like we really gotta like watch, like even when we're addressing things, and it's good to address things, like we gotta watch how we're talking about our black women on this show, because it is ridiculous, and sometimes it just does give fodder for people to be like, see, the show said it and
Yes.
XYZ, so they have to handle it in a way that is like, that's really careful, because now it's like the vortex. Like, I never want to hear the vortex again, because
Girl.
it was like it served a purpose, and now it's
And
like
I'm
being
over it.
dragged,
Get
and
rid
it's
of it.
like I'm so over that
Break the
term.
vortex up at this point.
And so I think, and to that end, like Jordan gave him another out at the end, and it was just like, do you have anything that you have regrets for, or anything that you want to walk back? And JJ said no, and I think that like
No.
which is when I was just like, oh, he's dead to
Take
me
him
for
out. Take
real.
him
Like
out.
he's up permanently on my list. Like he was already, JJ was already like going lower and lower on my list because of what he said about Liv in the other episode, and it was just like, oh, thank goodness Liv is being hard to date, blah 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 blah. And then the fact that he said that he's like, he has no regrets, it was just like, bro, you can go somewhere. Like, good for you for leaving the beach house. But I really hope that they don't, I hope that they don't let that go. I hope that they don't just like let him say like, oh, he has a problem, right? He's not sober, or he's drunk, or whatever, because it's just like, they need to address that, and he needs to do a lot to like make up for what he's done over the course of these past couple episodes, and specifically in relation to how he's treated the black women on the show,
Yes.
and the things
I
that
also
he
feel
said
like it's
about
not
them.
going to be that easy, though, for him.
It better not be.
I don't
It
think it'll be
better
that
not
easy.
be. It better not be. And it was just like so in your. It was just really tough to watch that after she was just like, oh yeah, he needs help,
Right?
and it's a
I
cry for
said,
help.
come
Only for
on.
him. Only for him to say that about it. That was really just
Only
it was
person
really
who's
disgusting.
really truly seeing that something really is not right. Asher just been tight this whole time because you ain't been doing what you're supposed to do. But Lele, you're
Right.
really and genuinely caring about what's going on with you, and sent this boy, your roomie, to come check on you. This how you gonna do her, man? Dead to me.
It was wild. Yeah, he's very dead to me. He's very dead to me. And again, it's like on top of all of this other stuff he did. Like again, saying being like, "Oh, I'm so glad that Livy is so hard to date." Like, what are you talking about? And I'm sorry, I'm gonna add this again. Is I was never for them having Coop say, and this is the time where I'm just like, see, the writers need to chill a lot of the time. Is because when they had Coop say like, "Oh, you're close enough to being black," I'm like, no, he doesn't get a black card for
Man.
saying don't touch a black woman's head. Like JJ has a lot to work on, and this was back before this episode even occurred. So like, JJ's been on my list for a very long time, and that's why I never treated. Everybody would be like, "Oh, I'm so sad for JJ, but he wants to be
No,
taken seriously." And I'm
see,
like, "Oh, JJ." I
what?
was always like, "JJ is JJ. I don't care. I don't care."
Stop. See, I
And
was
see, I'm
feeling bad for
justified.
him.
I'm
I
justified.
was feeling bad for him because you could tell homie is dealing with some trauma.
And you could honestly say, what would I say? I'd be like, JJ is JJ.
Oh, he should JJ.
Literally, I was just like, yeah. I mean, he is, but like, whatever.
No, I was dead feeling bad for him. I'm like, this man, you can tell he's over here struggling. It's not just alcohol, or him not even truly loving football. This man is dealing with some stuff that he's been dealing with probably his whole life, and he hasn't
Yeah.
like never really dealt with it. But now I'm like, man, you making it hard out here to defend you, my man. It's like,
See, and I've never defended. I've always been like, yeah, yeah, I guess.
oh, I don't care about your childhood trauma. You suck.
I guess. Not
Oh
even
my
that. It's
god.
just like I'm just more neutral than it. I'm like, yeah, I want him to get some help, but like I'm not gonna. There's more pressing things.
Yeah, at this point, when it happens, it happens. I'll be like, oh, okay, he got help. Before I was caring about you, sir.
Literally. So that was that. Then the article. Like we said, Garrett resigns. They had an on signing day, so everything is scrambling. We get Morris Chestnut.
Come on. They said, here's some
He's
more
still
chocolate
so
for
fine.
you.
Still so fine to
This
this day.
man does not
To this day.
age. Does not
Does not
age.
age. Does not age. Does not age at all.
Gosh, looking like he just stepped out of Best Man. Come on, Morris.
Literally. And so, and he was so smooth with it too. He just was eating them lines
He's
up. He
been
was
here
eating
this
them
whole
lines
time.
up. Exactly. We just been waiting for you to show up on our screen, Rick
Yes.
Barnes. Rick, and the name Rick Barnes is just so smooth, Rick Barnes. Like,
I can see him as a Rick. He looked like a Rick. I said, okay, Rick.
okay, Rick. Okay, Ricky
Okay,
Rick.
Rick. I don't care what you say.
Rick Suave. Okay, anyway. But he was playing the
Oh
AD,
my
and he
gosh.
had a scene. He had a scene with Tay, and they just have obviously such a good rapport. But it was like he was eating Tay up a little bit. I can't lie, he was
Swap.
eating Tay up a little
Let's
bit.
swap one bald head for another. Come on.
Please. Oh my gosh.
Let's
Oh
go.
my
I'm about
gosh.
to call Papa Baker. No one will ever know. They will never know.
Literally, and so and so they're talking and chatting, and as Olivia is sort of scrambling because Garrett told her, "Oh, you shouldn't release this article because it's gonna hurt Spencer and Jordan," and blah 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 blah. And it was like, "Shut up, bro."
He only care about himself. Shut up.
But he was just like, exactly. He was just like, so Morris Chestnut's figuring out, and he's just like, oh yeah, I called the NCAA, all this stuff. He's just like, from one black man to the next, just like, chill. We need to do this for the culture. And anyway, Liv is still scrambling. She's still trying to figure out what's going on because and when to release this thing. And she figures out, according to her sources, that Garrett's not actually going to take time away from football, which was like sort of the agreement that they had, and that he was actually going to interview for another position. And we get a conversation that was a really long time coming between Spencer and Olivia. And
Go ahead, girl.
he's just like, essentially like, oh, so
I couldn't
how do you
even.
feel now that you're not releasing the article? And she was like,
He said, what? Sir, huh?
she said like, white man blinking gift, like,
Yo.
excuse me.
Come again? Who said that?
Literally, she was just like, wait, what? And he was just like, oh, well, just because since he resigned. And she was just like, well, he's not really stepping away from football, and this is a big issue. And you also knew.
He was acting brand new. I
You
said, Spence,
knew.
come on.
He was acting brand freaking new. Like, what did you think was gonna happen, sir?
Dude thought it was done, over with, dead. Garrett's gone. No,
Well,
sir.
you were so intent on making this the best article. Let me
Right? Let me help you. Go ahead, little Zay Zay.
he
Tell
was
her
so
your
hold on.
story.
He was so intent on making the best, in quotation marks, the best article ever. He started off from the jump poking
Gosh.
holes into the story. And now
Yeah.
he's just like, everybody's gonna think me and Jay are snitches. Like, well,
It's not about you.
literally.
Like,
She said, and that's such a good point. She was just like, it's bigger than me, it's bigger than you. Like, this is like, people could be killed. Like, football is a really dangerous sport. It is actually really important that she released this and shine a light on what was going on, because it is a huge issue. But it was so interesting to hear Spencer say this, because it's just like,
I said, no, he didn't. Not
she
after.
did not, but also it was like, she did not even ask you to be on this. Like, she didn't ask for your involvement. Like,
Nowhere did them words leave her mouth. Like, she didn't even know you were showing up to that cafe, sir. And you walked your little happy-go-lucky
literally.
self up in there and sat down.
And hold up, and he wasn't even happy go
Wasn't
lucky. If you
even
recall, if you
happy-go-lucky.
recall,
He was just stuck staring. I was like, you want to put a smile on your face while you talk to this girl? Like, sir, you brought yourself here. You chose to be here.
and that's the thing is like, and I would love to say, sit here and say on the podcast that this was so out of character for Spencer. It didn't make sense, but
Gosh, she published her article. Did you read it? No.
this was very in character. This was. I was literally about to say, let's just ask this question. What did he say? He was just like, oh, the scan. Oh, Jaden. What did you read the name on the article? We're about to get to this, but it was like Jaden Davis, and I'm like, oh, but are you gonna read it though?
Are you gonna read it? That's all he read. That's all he cared about. Like, what?
Unmasked Olivia Baker.
No.
Look, I saw. And again, I'm making jokes, but it's really just a greater conversation around Spencer does so much for people, and gives so much of himself, and he is really, really great about doing really, really big things. But I think when it comes to him in a relationship, I think sometimes the small things escape him. The small important things beyond sort of, when he's doing the boombox, right? And when he's making the thing with the candles, right? And so, like, things like reading the article, things like you
Like the important things.
told Liv, and yeah, you told Liv, that, oh, I want to see your joy and you've been happy and I can't dim your light. And a couple weeks later, you're just like, or even before that, and let me give this example to the audience so people can understand where I'm coming from. At the end of last season, you and I just rewatched this, right? At the end of
We
last
did.
season, he told her, I'm ready to put in work. Regardless if people think he needed to put in work or not, he told Olivia, I'm ready to put in work.
Go right ahead. Go ahead.
6 weeks
Finish
go by.
it. 6 weeks. Where was the work?
6 weeks go by, and communication is a two-way street. And I'm not only putting it on Spencer. I think Liv should have communicated. It's both of their dreams at risk, right? Spencer shouldn't have to, like, he shouldn't feel compelled to like be okay with this article or whatever. But it's just like, don't pretend that these things don't bother you. Don't pretend that like this isn't bothering you. Don't say like don't rush and say I'm gonna put in work, and then hear what you're going to have to be putting in work for, and then like don't do the work, right? And so I want you to shine, right? And then comes a couple of weeks later and is just like, no, but I gotta poke holes. I gotta poke holes because this is my dreams and my career that I'm talking about. And it's like, yes, Spencer, care about your career and just give her that space. Like, you didn't need to like be a part of this. Look, the Spencer fans that are already upset with me are just gonna be like, and I knew she's the worst.
I'm done. You see, but him stating that it was the way he was poking the holes. Like I said, my man's was not showing that he was happy to be there whatsoever. So that's what was getting me with it. The fact that he was trying to poke holes, I kind of understood just because I said some of the things that he's saying, the statements he's making, are things that other people
They're
would
really good
possibly say.
points.
Yeah, they're points.
They're
They make sense.
really good points.
But I think coming from him, and one, her not being the one to even tell you the full depths of like where this article is at that point in time when she was in the cafe with Jor, and you just showing up, not even telling her that you're showing up, and the way you showed up and the way you're poking these holes just didn't sit right with me. But from that point on, I was like, all right, he's trying. They did talk about it at the end of that episode when they had the celebration for his mom, and he made it seem like he was on board for trying to help her, get everything she needed for the story. So for it to circle back now to this episode here with my man's being tight, that she's still going forward with it. when you were just over here supposedly helping her. I said, sir, come on. Like,
It's been a bit of a pattern for the two of them where they really try, and I think that at times like they do believe, like they really want to be okay with the things, but like this uh these last two articles in particular were really difficult because, you know, it was about his team and this and that. And again, he has every right to feel the way that he did. Like, he
yeah.
has every right to say, like, why do you need to release this? You don't have to be the one to release this. And she has every right to be like, well, this is bigger than me, and you knew like what you were getting into, right? And so they're both in the right. They're both in the right, and I actually see the impact of this, and I see the, you know, their dreams are just pulling them in different directions for this specific thing, and it's not always going to be the case. But right now, I feel like what we saw in this episode is what we've been seeing since mid season 4 with the other articles.
Man, just too back and forth.
It was too back and forth. And so I think that now they've had Olivia, and people were just like, oh well, if it was that easy of her just publishing under another name. And it's just like, I get the frustration, I do, but also at the same time it's like, I don't know, like your characters have to learn these lessons. Like, there's a way that they have to learn these lessons. They shouldn't automatically have the answers. And let me be the first to say, I was not a fan of how this article storyline was executed. I wish we got her a conversation with Cristal like in episode 1. Like, what? Cristal should have been in Billy's place. Can we talk about it? Cristal should have been in Billy's place this
From the beginning,
entire
I'm over.
time.
Like, Billy doing too much. He's
He
too
was
close.
way too close to the article. He is the reason that the article was tipped off in the first place.
Yes.
And he was the reason I honestly feel like he also led to Olivia feeling more protective than necessary, so she wouldn't be able to like hear Spencer out and hear Jordan out until, you know, the upteenth time, right? Because Billy tried to take over her article in the beginning. Like, I mean, so it's these things. See, all roads lead back to Billy. This isn't even about Spencer and Olivia. It's all about Billy Beathead.
He gotta go.
Billy has to go. Billy has to go. So really, Spolivia's problems boil down to Billy Baker.
That's where it is. Y'all want to know the real reason for Spilivia's breakup?
Billy Baker? Billy Baker.
Bigger.
No, but I think that they came to an understanding, and with her saying, like, I really, you know, what she said, this thing is, I want to take strides without wreaking havoc while doing it. When she was talking to Cristal, and I really like this direction of her releasing it under a pseudonym, and you know, not necessarily having to have her name attached to it, so that it doesn't like directly impact those around her in a way that's like extremely harmful to them over the long term. And yes, I do think this could have been wrapped up maybe a little bit quicker, but
yes,
it is what it is.
this article been how long?
It's over now, y'all.
Like, it's over now.
We made it. We made it to the end. We'll never talk about this article. We'll never talk about this particular article again. Hopefully they'll just give her other articles that are like not putting her at direct odds with people anymore. Because listen, I'm as tired as you are. What is it?
What?
Imagine how tired we are. Imagine how tired we are of it.
This is her big break right here. So now it's just gonna be smooth sailing for homegirl. She gonna be
exactly. All right. Smooth sailing. But it looks like directly after this, even with the pseudonym, it wasn't as smooth sailing as it could be. And let's get to predictions. Thanks for listening to Chaya and I reviewing episode 506. Stay tuned for our predictions for 507, the mid-season finale.